Alright guys, welcome to another video. What we're going to do here is to break down an entire episode of The Archers. Now the episode that I have chosen is the one that I teach my classes. I can't break down every single episode for you guys. I really wish I could. If you want me to try and break down one that you are studying, if you can leave me a link to it in the comment section below, I'll do my best to get to it when I have the time. But yeah, you don't really need to know the episode in as much detail as I'm going to go through it with you now, but you do have to have a good understanding of an episode because the questions that you get in your exam will ask you to refer to a particular episode that you have studied. Okay, so I'm going to use the Helen and Rob storyline, which can be a little bit sensitive, so I'll put the link to it below, but do bear in mind that there is domestic abuse in it and there is a stabbing, so it could be triggering for some of you out there, and if that's going to be triggering for you guys, then please don't listen to it and use the one that your school have given you. But I'm going to break it down for you pretty much in a sort of English style, but just in a way that means you've got references you can use in your exam. So at sort of 10 seconds in, we've got the theme tune. Now this is an iconic part of the show because it acts as a form of brand identity and is used elsewhere as well as sort of intertextual links. Within the first minute we meet Kirsty and Helen. Now the tone of voice that Helen uses suggests that this is a very tense topic, and it also indicates to the audience straight away that something isn't right. The pace as well with which Helen starts to speak, particularly when she tells Kirsty that she's leaving Rob, conveys her emotion. So even though we can't see anything, we can tell that she's nervous and she's panicking. When Rob enters, the distance from the microphone shows that he's in the background, and that indicates action. So again, we've got a lot of really useful tricks that are being used here to show where characters are and how this action is playing out, even though the audience can't see anything. We've also got sound effects, such as the closing of the door and Rob's boots, which indicate the action and act as diegetic or natural sound to the scene. Now the high-pitched answer that Helen gives to the question sort of shows that she's buying time, because if you answer a question with a question, you're sort of searching for the right answer. It also shows that she's nervous. Now this creates a very tense atmosphere right away for the demographic, particularly given the lack of noise that we've got surrounding the two different characters. And this acts as foreshadowing for what is going to come next, which is where the tone of voice that Rob uses shows he's not in a good mood. We've got shouting from the distance, even though his voice is in the background, and not only does that allow us to hear how he feels, but it also keeps the conversation between Helen and Kirsty in the foreground as a focus for the audience. Now the pace between Helen and Kirsty is really rushed, and their voices have a softer pitch, so we can tell that they're talking in secret. When we get a pause within the sort of narrative or within the show as a whole, it shows the passage of time. So we've gone from the conversation now, had a pause, to the sound of cutlery on plates, and we can tell then that time has moved on and now Helen and Rob are having dinner. The belittling laughter that Rob uses at the beginning of some of his lines, like, "or you used to rather flaunt yourself," shows how patronising he is and indicates this emotional abuse that's going on within the relationship. The verb flaunt suggests negativity, so it's not something we'd expect a husband to say about his wife, and this indicates Rob's personality from the start. His voice changes throughout though, so when he says things like "you wanted it because you wanted me," he sounds really harsh and more like an animal, so this makes the audience sympathise with Helen and also makes us sort of feel aggressive towards Rob because he's clearly being portrayed as the villain here. Now, this might also be something that the audience have related to because it is a triggering thing to listen to, and so this is where the show is helping to inform and guide audiences and to also present that sort of element of relatability. The fact that there's a very tinny sound effect to Kirsty's voice tells us that this is happening on a phone, and it adds another layer to the episode by suggesting that this is something that's happening on top of what we've already heard or what's already happened within the show. The raised voices and sound effects that we get sort of at 11 minutes in, where the two start to have an argument, adds to this overall tension. Now this is the crisis point within the episode. This can easily be seen as a crisis point because we've got such a cacophony of noise, just a massive soundscape of noise happening everywhere. But contrasting this, we've got Henry's tone of voice. This indicates that he's a child, and this level of pitch and tone contrasts to what's gone before. It provides a moment of relief for the audience and for the characters. And we've also got a subplot being picked up as well, because we want to know what's going to happen to Helen now that she stabbed Rob. So that was a really quick breakdown of the episode as a whole. Hopefully that was helpful to you guys. If you need to, go back, pause the screen, get down any information that you need. There's a lot of key terms for you here to use, and if you're doing a different episode, perhaps have a go at laying it out like I have and using these terms within it as a part of your revision. You can subscribe below and hit the bell icon next to it to get notifications every time I post a video. Please get in touch with me through Twitter at media_revision, or in the comments section below if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer. And I'll see you guys later for another video.